Hello, my name is Johnny Binder, General Curator for Cameron Park Zoo. Today on Step Into the Wild, we're going to be stepping into the wonderful world of reptiles and amphibians. Cameron Park Zoo's Herpetarium opened in 1997 and was designed to immerse the visitor into various habitats for reptiles and amphibians from around the world. Let's step into the wild.
When you enter into the Herpetarium, you enter into the Hall of Giants. Here, the anaconda and the reticulated python, two of the largest species of snakes in the world, reside in lush habitats with large pools. Although many snakes reach considerable lengths, the true giants also have exceptional body mass. Anacondas, found in South America, and the reticulated python, found in Asia, compete for the title of the world's largest snakes. Anacondas can reach lengths in excess of 30 feet and they can weigh over 400 pounds, while the reticulated python has been recorded at lengths in excess of 32 feet and is somewhat slimmer than the anaconda. As the visitor moves deeper into the Herpetarium, he crosses over a footbridge, passing dwarf caimans, a variety of boa constrictors, and then reaches the king cobra, which is one of the highlights of the Herpetarium.
So in this first exhibit, it's actually a mixed species exhibit. Inside here we have common boas, which are found throughout the tropical parts of South America. And we also have Amazon tree boas, which are also found through tropical South America. Now the common boas, or boa constrictor, are a mid-sized boa, and they'll prey upon birds and smaller rodents. These boa constrictors are actually quite common in the pet trade and have become quite invasive due to people letting them go in warmer areas of the United States, such as Florida and parts of Texas. Now the Amazon tree boa, on the other hand, is a much smaller constrictor and stays strictly in the trees. It is a bird eater and primarily nocturnal. One of the crocodilians we have here in the Herpetarium is the Cuvier's dwarf caiman. This caiman is the smallest extant crocodilian today, with a total length around 5 feet. It lives in northern and central South America and can be found mainly in fast-moving streams. Young dwarf caimans eat mostly invertebrates such as insects, while adult caimans tend to feed on fish. They're excellent diggers and create burrows in the ground that are used for hiding during the day. At night, dwarf caiman have been known to travel great distances on land in search of other bodies of water and prey. Now we come to the largest venomous snake in the world, the king cobra. The king cobra can reach lengths of up to 14 to 17 feet. One dose or one bite from a king cobra can kill an Asian elephant, and it has the 8th most toxic venom in the world. Unlike other snakes that prey on birds, lizards, small mammals, stuff like that, king cobras are exclusively snake eaters.
Moving on from the king cobra exhibit, we pass the bamboo corridor that features gembox exhibits we call the jewels of the jungle. The size of these animals may not be as impressive as the king cobra, but each of these animals hold an important place in their ecosystem.
So what I'm holding in my hands right here is a marine toad. It is one of our amphibians here in the Herpetarium. It is a true toad, and you can tell that it's a toad by its warty skin, short legs, and short arms. Now, an actual frog would have longer legs and smoother skin. Now, the cane toad is found in southern tip of Texas through Central America and into northern South America. However, the cane toad has been introduced in other parts of the world to combat pest populations. A specific example of this is in Australia, where they were introduced in the 1930s to eat cane beetles. In actuality, the cane toad ate everything but the cane beetles and kind of outcompeted other animals of similar size. One of the successes of the cane toad and why it's able to expand its population so quickly is that the females are prolific breeders and they can lay thousands of eggs at a time. And also, the cane toad is highly toxic It emits toxic secretions out of its skin and out of these parotid glands. The cane toad is a great example of how one animal, even though it's small, can affect the bottom of the food chain, the things it eats, and to the top of the food chain of things that would try to eat it.
One of the features that draws the visitor into the herpetarium and enhances their experience are the beautiful murals found throughout the building. They are done by a local artist, Von Otto, and they are exceptional in representing the different habitats of the animals. Another exhibit method that was very unusual when this building was built is the exhibit within an exhibit. By setting exhibits within an exhibit, we can display two animals that are found on the same environment or ecosystem, but if housed together without barriers may injure each other. After all, some reptiles eat other reptiles. Here we move out of the jungle and into the arid grasslands and deserts of the world. Just as we had a wall representing the jewels of the jungle, we also have the gems of the desert. The deserts of the world hold some of the most highly adapted and beautiful creatures on Earth.
So we work with a lot of venomous snakes here in the herp, but we also work with some venomous lizards. Now there are two different types of venomous lizards found in North America. We have both. They are the Gila monster, which is actually found in the United States, and the beaded lizard, which is found throughout parts of Mexico. Now I'm going to show you how we pull a Gila monster off exhibit and place it in a holding container while we do any work we need to do in the exhibit. A few things we should know about Gilas before we do this. Gilas are venomous. They don't strike like a rattlesnake is. They don't have two fangs that they insert. They actually will grab on and hold in defense, or if they're attacking its prey, and kind of chew the venom in there with its mouth. So like they're almost like little bulldogs where they'll bite and they won't let go. So even though they are slow, they still have the potential to be very dangerous. So here's the Gila monster. You can see with the bright orange color, it's kind of, in nature, bright colors can mean venomous or toxic. So this is kind of like a warning or deterrent for any would-be predators. It's saying, hey, don't come after me, I'm venomous.
The public side of Cameron Park Zoo's herpetarium is beautiful, and thousands of zoo visitors enjoy this exhibit each year. But if you love reptiles the way I do, the best place to be is behind this door. Today we're standing in the service area of the herpetarium. The herpetarium was designed for the safety of the staff and also the comfort and the specific needs for all of the reptiles that are housed here. We have 3 different HVAC systems that control the heating, cooling, and humidity for this building. We have one specifically designed with humidifiers and a little bit higher temperature for the tropical area of the building. We have one with dehumidifiers and a little bit of a different temperature setting for the arid side of the building. And to make our visitors comfortable, of course, they have their own, so they can stay just a little bit cooler and less humid than the animals. Where we're standing right now is the tropical service area of the herpetarium. The humidity is about 75%, the temperature is about 85. There's rarely a reason to actually handle venomous snakes. We actually utilize tools like these that we call snake hooks that actually are used to encourage or lift the snakes into areas that we need them to go in. This prevents a lot of undue stress on the animals, and it also is a lot safer for the staff. As you can see, these hooks are designed for different size snakes, and the snakes, a lot of times for feeding, they're moved into different areas. They're either what we call shifted into a trash can or some mobile restraint device, or they're shifted into another area of that exhibit. By shift cage, I mean we actually have a cage within a cage, and there's a door that you slide open so you can actually move the animal into a safe area, safe for the animal and safe for the individual that's working with that exhibit. So the individual can actually go in and do all the cleaning, disinfecting, and everything that needs to be done with the snake safely shifted into another area. We also have a kind of unique shift that we kind of call our hospital or procedural shift that we use to shift highly venomous animals like the king cobra into a little off-exhibit area In this particular device, we're able to use gas anesthesia or a squeeze restraint, similar that you would do with mammals, to actually handle some of the world's most deadly and most venomous species with total safety to the animal and to the keeper.
The safety features in this building are very important as we deal with deadly animals on a daily basis. Staff training is also very important as we have strict protocols for the handling of venomous and dangerous animals.
As a herbarium keeper, we work with a wide variety of animals here in the herbarium. Everything from our large anacondas down to our smallest tree frogs. One of the more dangerous animals we work with here on a daily basis are the rattlesnakes. Now there's about 30 species of rattlesnakes, and they all come in different shapes, sizes, and color patterns. What I'm going to show you today is how we move our rattlesnakes on and off exhibit. Now we do this to clean their enclosures, do any veterinary care, and any other work we might need to do in their exhibit. So there's a few things that you have to know about rattlesnakes before you approach them. The first thing is they can strike about 2/3 of their body length from a coiled position. The second is they are venomous and they are very dangerous. One other thing is they can strike so fast that the average human eye can't detect that strike before it actually hits your hand or whatever they're trying to bite. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, move the rattlesnake out of his exhibit, put him in the trash can, and where we hold our snakes, it's not an actual trash can, but I'll go ahead and do that right now. Want to be careful to evenly distribute the snake's weight. Place it in the trash can and cover the lid. If I'm going to leave the snake in here for an extended period of time, what we do as a safety precaution is we take this duct tape, we tape the lid down so it's secure. And if it's a venomous snake, we'll write in red what it is and we'll mark it hot. Hot means venomous. And this is a speckled rattlesnake. If we were working a non-venomous snake, we would write in black and we would also write on the tape what the animal is.
Today I'd like to show you one of the more rare snakes in the United States. This is the gray-banded king snake. And this snake is featured in one of the exhibits at Cameron Park Zoo's Herpetarium. Now, this is one of my very favorites. They're a very unique snake. They're a very delicate little snake. They only get about 3 feet long, non-venomous of course. And they live in the really rough areas of West Texas out in the Chihuahuan Desert regions. Now these guys are highly adapted. They come out at night only because the high desert temperatures would be really too hot for this really delicate king snake. And most of the time out in the desert, these guys feed on small lizards and little rodents. Now, a lot of times they feed on lizards out in the desert because there's primarily more lizards than rodents. And living up in the rocky, craggy ledges like this king snake likes to do, it's just a better food source. The gray-banded king snake gets his name because of all the gray bands intermittent with the orange bands here. And something really unique, they have an unusual morphology or color pattern. From the same clutch of eggs, this snake can produce a melanistic or solid black baby snake, or they can be colored just like this one with the orange bands, or kind of a combination of both. And so they're kind of a variable pattern king snake. And this is called Lampropeltis alterna, is their scientific name. And if you visit our playground at another area of Cameron Park Zoo, you'll notice that a child's playing structure is a large gray-banded king snake, because I got to help design that, and that's my favorite snake. The king snake here you see is kind of wiggling around in my hands. He's kind of not really sure as to what I'm doing. When we're handling snakes in the zoo, we always try to keep them balanced well so they'll feel secure and not feel like they're going to be hurt or dropped. I would like to point out the only reason we handle snakes at Cameron Park Zoo is for veterinary care and husbandry. but we are trained and everyone that works in the herpetarium knows exactly which snake to pick up. And boys and girls, if you see a snake out in your yard or out on camping trips and so forth, please do not pick them up because some of the snakes can harm us. So we want to be careful at all times when we're having fun out in the field.
The herpetarium staff is responsible for all the reptiles and amphibians kept at Cameron Park Zoo. We have a total of 273 reptiles and about 40 amphibians at Cameron Park Zoo. And while most of them reside in the herpetarium, there are several other areas that house reptiles and amphibians at Cameron Park Zoo. The ranch house is home to the reptiles and amphibians that serve as education ambassadors and are taken out to schools and other community facilities for education programs. Some of our mammal and bird exhibits, like El Rey de la Montaña, the South American habitat, have reptile residents during the warm weather months, usually May through September. Next to El Rey de la Montaña is the Galapagos Tortoise exhibit, home to Gilligan, Skipper, and the Professor. The Brazos River Country houses the American alligators and a variety of reptiles and amphibians found in Texas. Plus, we also have our newest and recently most popular reptile exhibit, the Komodo dragon habitat, located in the Asian Forest Complex.
So right now I'm standing in our giant tortoise yard. Behind me we have two giant Galapagos tortoises. Now the Galapagos tortoises are found on the Galapagos Islands, and there's actually 7 different types of subspecies found on those islands. Now each island has its own unique Galapagos tortoise, and the tortoises on those islands kind of evolved as the vegetation. So tortoises like this that have a shorter necks and their shells facing downward like that in the front are typically grazing on the ground and on bushes. There's other tortoises that have more of a saddled shaped shell and long necks, and they're reaching up into limbs. We also have a Aldabra tortoise in here, and they're from the Seychelles Islands in Africa. The Aldabras are the second largest tortoises in the world, and the Galops are the first. Now in the wild, there's about 25,000 Galapagos tortoises left. In contrast, the Aldabras, there's about 125,000 left. So behind me right now are our American alligators. They are the largest alligators in the world, the smaller one being the Chinese alligator. And the alligators can actually be found in the United States in the southeastern parts, even here in Texas. Now, the American alligator is a keystone species in its natural environment. They are apex predators. They prey upon pretty much everything that's smaller than them. In winter months, they create gator holes that other animals use as a source of water when there's drought. So without alligators in the environment, a lot of animals would go without water. The American alligator is also a great example of how the Endangered Species Act works. Now, in the 1970s, the American alligator was actually endangered, but due to rehab programs and the passing of the Endangered Species Act in 1973, the alligator has made an excellent comeback, and it is a prime example of habitat management and rehab programs done by the United States. So the exhibit I'm kneeling next to right now is a mixed species exhibit. In here we have a lone male alligator, and we also have a female alligator snapping turtle. Now the alligator snapping turtles are found throughout the southeastern parts of the United States. They prefer sluggish and kind of muddy water, but they can also be found in bodies of water like the Mississippi. The alligator snapping turtle is the largest freshwater turtle found here in the United States, and it has a very distinct way in which it hunts. It's a lion weight predator, and it will hold its mouth open, and at the bottom of its mouth is a worm-like appendage that it kind of flicks, and when a fish comes close, it will, being lured in by that worm, it'll just grab that fish and there's dinner. And also another thing that really helps the alligator snapping turtle to be successful at doing this is its camouflage. It blends in perfectly to the environments in which it's found. All right, now we're in the back holding of our Komodo dragon exhibit. We have 2 Komodos back here, 1 male, 1 female. They're both roughly 3.5 years old. And Komodo dragons themselves are from the southeast parts of Asia, specifically around the islands of Indonesia, like the islands such as Komodo. Today we're going to show you some of the training we do with these dragons. Now the reason behind the training is so they'll voluntarily cooperate to do things we want them to do. Things like weighing, such as this right here. Normally we'll have a scale underneath it, so the Komodo dragon comes up there voluntarily, we get an accurate weight, then we move it back into its enclosure. Other things such as vet work or just shifting them on and off exhibit. This is really important because as the dragon gets older, it becomes a little bit more difficult to work with. You can't pick up a full-grown Komodo dragon. So if they can target, they're voluntarily moving around, and it's a lot less stressful for the animal and for us keepers. So right now what I'm going to do is give you an example of how we do this. What's going to happen is the Komodo dragon will come out of this gate, sit on here to get weighed, and then move back into here. And he's going to do this all voluntarily on his own, and I'll reward him each time he stops with a small mouse. He should come right out. So here we'd weigh him. His body is completely off the ground. And as you can see, he's a little food aggressive right now. But as long as he's fixated on that target, you should be okay. Give him one more mouse up here. Now he's completely on the target. Now we'll shift him back into his enclosure. He's back holding. Oh, dropped his rodent. And that's how we move our Komodos without using any force on the animal itself. They willingly move themselves.
I'd like to thank you for joining us today on Step Into the Wild for the wonderful world of reptiles. And I hope the next time that you want to harm a reptile because of fear or just not understanding it, that you think about the valuable role that these wonderful animals play in our ecosystems, and that further than that, the ecosystems are in our hands. Please come out and visit your zoo soon.
The Cameron Park Zoo in Waco is a member by invitation of the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums and is an accredited member of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, a worldwide organization of more than 200 accredited members who are leaders in global wildlife conservation and assistance in helping animals in their native habitat. For more information, visit CameronParkZoo.com.